Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video we are looking at the 30th anniversary collector's set of Voltron, Defender of the Universe from Toynami. It is a really cool looking figure. He stands nice and tall, lots of shiny parts. He's about 12 inches tall on top of the base. The base does have some height to it, and he does come with a decent amount of stuff. So we're going to get into that. This is a pretty cool set. I have to say it's not as good as I was hoping it would be. Let's line up the camera. But it is pretty darn cool. If you are a Voltron fan, then this might be an item for you. Like I said, it looks awesome. There's tons of chrome on it. It's almost all die cast. All of the main parts are die cast, so it's really heavy. But here's the thing about die cast. Everybody always wants you to think that die cast parts are good on an action figure. Unfortunately, generally, they're not that good. They cause problems. They don't create good joints. They create a lot of weight. So the joints that are there are going to have problems more than likely. So a lot of that is present in this figure, and we will talk about that as we go. First, let's just talk about what he comes with. So we have the actual Voltron figure, which is comprised of the 5 lions. They do all come apart. They do all have their own, lion modes. You can see they just unfold, their little tails come out. I'm not going to actually take them apart to show you those because they're pretty unimpressive, I think, on their own. And if you're buying this, you're not going to buy it to set the lions there. This is not that kind of set. So we do have the lions, and then with the lions we have all of their own individual accessories. These weapons here, we have all of these, and they're all nicely chromed. They're not die cast, these are actually just plastic, but we have all of these, and they are super shiny. They're pretty well done. I do like that. The lions can hold them in their mouths, so that's pretty cool. And then of course we have the blazing sword for Voltron, which is really well done. Equally nice chrome, really good size to it. Again, this is plastic. It's not die cast. This part is plastic. It has a peg here for him to hold it, so that's nice. And it's really got some size to it too. It alone is about 10 inches, so that's pretty nice. And then we have the shield, also chromed, and then we have the black ring in the middle with the kind of goldish color going on, so that's really nice. It's kind of hollow, so that could have been better, but it still looks good from the front, and it does have the peg for the handle as well. And then we have the base. Let's set Voltron down just in case it falls. I don't want it to break my table. So we have the base, which is really large, and that's good because it's a big figure. It's about 10 inches across and about 10 inches deep. It's pretty close to that size, a couple inches high, and then it has the upright piece that holds the shield and the sword there. And you're probably wondering, what are all those cutouts for? Hopefully you're not really. These all fit in there. They don't actually snap in, so that's a little bit of a problem. So I'm just going to set it on the table, and I'll move the camera so you can kind of see what's going on. So all of these weapons just snap in. I believe this one's in the back here. There's really not much to see. They're just sitting in their little cutouts. It looks nice once they're in, but there's it would have been nicer if they actually snapped in, I think. So that's how they look while they're in the base. It does look nice, especially against the black with all the chrome going on, so that's cool. And then we have the key. It comes in the package like this. It has a little clip on it. So there's that, and then it comes apart. You just unsnap it up here, if I can do it. There we go, we just unsnap that. Wiggle this out, so we have the key, and that can fit right in here. So there's that, and then the last thing that the base does, which is pretty nice, it requires 3 AA batteries, not included with the set. But what you do here is you slide this over. I'll hold it still. Slide that over, it reveals the key, then you slide it over. And the star lights up in the middle, and there's a bunch of noise. I'm not sure if you saw that because of all the lights, so I'm going to turn off all the lights, and we're going to see if we can do that again. And then you'll be able to see it. Okay, so we slide the key over, slide the key in, and then we'll go from there. It actually lights up pretty nicely. It doesn't stay lit, so we don't have to worry about that. It'll turn itself off. And while we have the lights off, I want to show you that Voltron himself has light up eyes. So there they are. They light up nice and yellow. There's kind of a greenish hue to it, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but the eyes do light up. The bad thing about that is the way the eyes light up is just by folding the face down, and I'll show you this with the lights on as well. So if the face is up, the lights turn off, and then as soon as you fold the face down, they turn on. You can't turn them off unless you insert the little battery stopper piece of plastic, so that's a bit of a problem. Let me get the lights turned back on and we'll talk about the figure in a little more detail. Alright, so as I was saying, you have to have the face folded down for the lights to work, and the reason it has that greenish hue is because there's blue plastic in there. I don't remember him being blue. I remember it mostly being like white and gray, but it's definitely blue. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there or not. Maybe there are some different versions, different renditions, but that blue is what's turning that light a little bit green instead of yellow. But it still looks pretty cool that it does have the lights. So there's that. Okay, so we've looked at the base, we've looked at the accessories. Let's look at the actual figure once we get this big old base out of the way. I suppose we should probably show you how the accessories fit in the hands, or in the lions' mouths. The little ones just go right in, they just sit inside. And then the big ones for Voltron, once he's all combined, use those pegs inside the mouth. So that's how we're going to do it. It's a little difficult with the shield. You can try doing it like this and just getting it to fit in there, and then kind of closing the mouth over it to push it in. It's a little tricky, but it can be done, I promise you. Let's see if I can do it right now. And I can. So there we go. He holds it nice and tight, and that's cool. And then you have the big old shield, which looks really good on the figure. Again, the chrome is really, really well done. So we've got the shield, and then the sword goes in the exact same way on this side. Just put it in, kind of eyeball it. I think we got it. So we have the shield and the sword, and he looks pretty darn snazzy, if I do say so myself. So again, this figure looks really, really good. They did a great job with the aesthetics. However, there are some serious problemas, and we're going to talk about those right now as we do the articulation. What you might want to do with the shield is pop it off of the grip part, and it makes it a little bit easier, and then you can just put the grip down separately. Okay, so let's look at the articulation of the figure. The little wingy thingies have hinges up here, but those are pretty much going to stay upright, so that's fine. The head itself, the neck has a hinge, and then the head has a swivel, and then the top of the head also has the hinge, but you're probably not going to ever use that because that's simply for getting the head to be a head. And same thing with these things. Of course, these can fold up, but you're not going to do that as long as it's in robot mode, so to speak. The shoulders have a hinge that allow the arms to open up this way. Unfortunately, that's as far as they open, and there is no in between. It's either open or closed, so that's pretty disappointing. They do rotate, and it is ratcheted. You get about, they're probably every 45 degrees it looks like. So it's not the best. I don't like large ratchets like that. It keeps the arm up, but it also hinders the range of motion. We have a swivel at the top and the bottom of the elbow. It works perfectly at the top. The bottom one is really tight and kind of limited, so that's going to be a problem. And then the problem with the elbow itself is we have it perfectly straight, and we have one position to bend it. Another position, sometimes it holds, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't work as well as I would like. Same thing on this side. So we have it straight, we have one position, and then the other one. Sometimes it holds, but it usually wants to just pop right back if you touch it at all. So it's a little problematic again there. The wrists have a full swivel. It's actually just a single ball peg, so we have a little bit extra play in the wrist, but it's essentially just a swivel. And as you saw, the jaws open up, but they only open up a little bit. I would have much rather had the mouth open up a lot more for some more dynamic posing, so that's pretty disappointing. Same thing on this side. Would have been nice if it opened up a lot more. We do have a waist twist, but it only gives us a little range of motion because the torso hits that belt piece right there. So again, it could have been a whole lot better. Now here's where the figure really starts to have some serious problems, and that is in the hips. Okay, so the hips. We have forward and back. It goes all the way forward, all the way back technically, but the legs are incredibly heavy. And that's good for standing, but for posing, it's not good at all. You can't hold the leg in any position other than straight down. There is no lateral movement at all other than play in that joint. It's kind of like just a ball peg. So if you're planning on moving his legs at all, that's as far as they go out to the side. So you can't really pose him too much from the waist down. At the top of the chrome thighs, we do have swivels, so we can do that, but you're not going to find too much use for that, unfortunately, so that's a little disappointing. As you've seen, most of the articulation is disappointing. With the knee, we do have a knee joint, but that's the only position it can go in, either straight or back one notch. And when you put it back, you can't move the lion head up anymore, so you can't really use that articulation anyway unless you're going to rotate the leg around a little bit, and even then, I don't know how you're going to be able to use that. So again, it's disappointing. And then the ankles, that's part of the transformation really. So we have an ankle, but you can't use it in any position other than that. Luckily, the heads do rotate around, so if you do spread the legs a little bit, you can make it look like he's standing, but the heads really don't provide any support. All of the weight is just going to sit on the heavy parts of the bodies, or of the bodies of the lions. So again, you're not going to find too much use for the articulation of the lower legs. It's kind of hard to balance him. The only saving grace is that his lower legs are really freaking heavy. So even though the upper part is made of die cast as well, the lower part is a lot heavier, so he stands just fine. Unfortunately, you're not going to find too many good poses for him just because of the way the articulation is. So that's really where the disappointment comes in. In terms of paint applications, I can't really complain too much. I think for the price point, they could have been a little better. However, it seems that the price mostly went to the die cast, which unfortunately, not a good thing in this case. It really hurts the figure more than it helps. So the paints are pretty decent. You can see on the chest everything looks pretty good. They all have their numbers on there, so that's pretty nice. They look good. The paints are fine. It's just they could have been a little crisper, a little sharper. As you can see, you know, it's not the cleanest paint job in every case. It's just a little bit disappointing. The best thing about this figure is that he looks good when he's standing there, if you can find him a decent pose, because of the chrome. I think the chrome is really the best part of this guy just because it's so well done. They really did a good job on the chrome. That's easily the best part. The rest, unfortunately, it's just, especially for the price point, I think this is the kind of figure where you're probably better off waiting for it to get marked down and then picking it up. It's a cool figure. It looks really good. If you're a hardcore Voltron fan, then pick it up. You're probably going to like it just because you're a Voltron fan. But if you're just looking for a high quality figure, then I think you're probably better wait and not pay the price point that it comes out at. It's just a little bit disappointing for that. Even with the lights and sounds for the base and the lights for the head and the die cast and the chrome and everything, it just seems kind of lacking, unfortunately. So there it is, guys. There's the 30th anniversary Voltron. I think if you were able to or willing to pay the prices now, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the Matty Collector version is better. This is cool, but for the price point, I just can't justify it. Alright guys, there it is. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.